My English teacher this year often refers to something she calls the list, a list that she had us write at the beginning of the year of things people are born without choosing. She was very adamant about the fact that we come up with a list ourselves, things like sex, race, who your parents are, where you were born, sexual orientation. Even being born at all, someone brought up, isn't something you get to choose, just really something that's given to you. And she'll often refer back to the list, saying that Shakespeare knew the list when he wrote the character of Lady Macbeth, that Kate Chopin definitely knew the list in almost everything she wrote. And if someone were to ask me for one piece of advice that I could give to anyone in the world, it would be remember the list. Now this might be a bit ambitious, but I would be willing to say that if everyone in the world consciously considered the list at once, it would instantly make the world better. For the bigoted, remember that people don't choose their race or sex. For those that have to deal with the bigoted, remember that they didn't get to choose where they were raised or what their parents were like. People often forget that just in general, people don't want to be assholes. No one decides to be an asshole. There simply is something that they don't know. I'm not talking about one thing that everyone doesn't know that makes them an asshole. I mean that cases where someone is being an asshole, it is because they don't know something. Notice how in a car accident, everyone involved thinks the other is doing something wrong. If you think you had a right to be speeding because of something actually important, chances are they thought the same thing. And I mean, even the Westboro Baptist Church thinks that they're helping the community in some way. Another piece of advice to tack on to this would be to seek others' intent. Nothing makes my blood boil more than when people don't seek others' intent. Now maybe I'm spending too much time on Tumblr, but it makes me absolutely insane when people attack the earnest and the kind-hearted and the open-minded. Seek others' intent. I believe in you, and I believe that you have the ability to understand when someone is doing something, and whether they are bigoted or simply unenlightened. We too often attack people who are not the enemy, and that costs us efforts. No, not only does it cost us efforts, but it makes you look like an asshole. And you don't want to be an asshole. Which brings me back to no one wants to be an asshole. When someone seems like they're overreacting and it seems to be pushing you away, seek their intent. They don't want to be assholes. And if you're afraid of becoming an asshole, think of the list. It all comes back around. Empathy makes the world a better place, and people have more potential for empathy than people make people out to. And I believe that.